Many parents or guardians may ask the simple question, how can I be responsible to improve a child's reading skills? You can do that in many different ways. Think of how you can make reading more enjoyable for the child. Children like to read when it is fun and it's enjoyable and relevant to their interests. It will be very noticeable that children are extremely curious and full of questions. If your child does show a curiosity about a specific topic, you can visit your local libraries or bookstores to get them books on the given subjects and topics that they enjoy. When parents provide developmentally appropriate literacy resources and activities, and believing that their children are interested in them and will be able to benefit from such activities, parents and guardians will play a vital role in supporting the development of early literacy skills from right at home. Research suggests that a range of influences can affect the way that children perceive reading, how we focus on the role that the parents and guardians do play, and how teachers can ultimately shape the role for them. Teachers and parental and guardian collaboration means more than just having positive connections between the two and show that the child or children are cared for, but working together to support children's reading. The ability of the at-risk children will definitely exhibit demonstrable gains. Any child will show the demonstrable gains as long as they are getting worked with at home. Regular recreational reading of fiction stories and books also have been associated with developing an enhanced capacity for empathy and pro-social attitudes and behaviors. Reading various books and asking questions about what was read is the first step to a high level of encouragement. Frequent reading will always equal a positive attitude when it comes to reading. The more that children read, they will generate a positive attitude when it comes to wanting to read and wanting to read more. Since reading is known as a social activity, the main source of encouragement and the key person who will influence how important reading truly is will be the parents or guardians, because they will be the ones reading with the little ones at home. As parents and guardians will often expect their children to read, but do not read themselves, children will pick up on this and notice, and they will be extremely sensitive to the contradiction. Make sure you encourage reading to your children, but also show them that you enjoy reading too. Parents and guardians should actively model an enjoyment for reading, providing and gaining informed recommendations to stories and books, as well as facilitating the access to those stories and books as well. Encourage shared reading. Shared reading retains a significant value beyond the initial phase of independent reading acquisition. Shared reading also enables greater language exposure, fostering the development or receptive language, enhancing spelling skill, and aids with vocabulary acquisition as well. Recent findings show that regular reading may be good for the brain and continuation of good personality. Shared reading also remains beneficial beyond the stage of independent reading skills acquisition, as older students and even adults can also benefit from shared reading opportunities as well. Shared reading should not cease just because children become competent independent readers. When children become the competent independent readers, it is great and it is a huge step for them that they take, so they will be able to master the reading course and reading activities in school. But shared reading should not cease just because of that experience. Completing graphic organizers with your child after reading stories and chapter books are a great way to get their brain going when they are reading. Graphic organizers help students focus on text structure as they read, provide children with tools that they can use to examine and visually represent the relationships in a text that is read, and also help students to learn how to write well-organized summaries of texts. At what age should a child be able to read? Although every child is different, most children can read between the ages of 4 and 7. whereas some children start to learn to read and write their letters or recognize signs and symbols as early as the age of 3. A good source of opportunities for that is if you start working with your child one-on-one at an early age. Most of the children will enter that age bracket to learn these things as early as the age of 3 years old. By the time students are in 3rd grade, usually around age 8 or 9, most children are expected to have attained independent skill with a high stake testing requiring independent ability, often beginning around these ages of a certain level of mastery. By the age of 1, many children know a lot about spoken language by talking and listening. It is extremely important to talk to young children because they may not be able to physically talk back and answer you, but they are able to listen and process what you are saying. By the time a child enters kindergarten, they are expected to already know their shapes, names of letters, and how to write them. There are different levels of mastery when you get to kindergarten. So if you are on the lowest level of mastery, you will be able to increase your level of skill throughout kindergarten. For the babies and toddlers, reading to infants, regardless of the level of comprehension, will be at the lowest level of understanding, but that is the best way to start. A baby will be able to associate the act of reading with nurturing and closeness, creating positive associations and connections. Reading to older babies and toddlers also teaches them that books are handled from the front to the back, pictures are depicted the world outside of books. Books say the same thing each time you read them, where specific words are associated with certain books. Before their 2nd birthday, children's narrative skills go under a rapid form of development. They are able to do this through parent-child conversations, shared book readings, and other activities provided by the families. Learning shapes, colors, numbers, and letters are the basic concepts that are linked to subsequent performance in reading and comprehension skills. Talking and reading to infants and toddlers are 2 very good ways to prepare them for later success in reading. Pointing to familiar objects and naming them also gives them awareness of what they are. Moving on to preschoolers, reading to preschool age children, teaching them that the English language is read from left to right and the marks on the page are not just the pictures do convey the story. At this age, reading and repetition also will boost their vocabulary, make reading interactive by asking many questions throughout the story. What do you think will happen next? And talking about the pictures on the given pages. Encourage children to read symbols, such as stop signs, restaurants, and stores. Before you know it, children will be reading symbols, like the golden arches, without any prompting. Let children pretend to read to you. Many children will begin to memorize books before they can read. Even if the story is not committed to memory, they can still describe what is happening on each page, explaining the illustration or the progress of the plot. Read books together with fun rhyming texts, encouraging reading easy books aloud. It will familiarize children with words and word endings. All of Dr. Seuss books are great with the rhyming. If a word is mispronounced, do not interrupt immediately. Wait until the sentence or page is finished and ask them if the word that they used makes sense. A lot of the time, children will be able to use the pictures as an aid to figure out the correct word used. Most preschool aged children will be starting to sound out words and read simple books on their own. Some signs of readiness. Your child can rhyme, suggesting that sat and bat are both words that rhymes with cat. Starting to write some words, perhaps with greater apparent skill and understanding than shown when reading. Writing will force a child to break down words into their distinctive sounds and figure out the letters that make those sounds that will form the words that they're writing on the page.